Picture this. You're at a parent-teacher meeting. The teacher looks at you and asks, how's your child been studying at home? Or maybe, as a teacher, you are asked, why is the class falling behind in maths? Do you fumble with words? Do you end up giving short replies with butterflies in your stomach? That ends today. In this session, I'll train you to explain school and college situations in fluent, confident English. Whether you are a teacher talking to parents or a parent explaining your child's performance. And remember, don't just listen. Pause, repeat, and speak every example aloud with me. Communication is a skill, and just like cricket or singing, it improves only with practice. And if you want to know about a different way to learning English, I have a free masterclass on the Triple E system of English learning. The link is in the description. But first, subscribe the channel and don't forget to share the video if you like it. Welcome to today's session on describing situations in a school and college in English. Whether you are a teacher, a parent, or even a professor in a college, you often face situations like these. A parent asks the teacher, why is my child not performing well? Or a teacher says to the parent, what support are you giving at home? Or at a college review, someone asks, what happened during the seminar or project? Now, most people answer in very basic English. He's weak, he tries, there is some problem, but that doesn't sound clear or professional. For example, instead of saying he's weak in studies, you could say your child is intelligent, but he sometimes loses focus during long tasks. We are working on improving his concentration with short practice sessions. See the difference? It's polite, professional, and clear. That's exactly what we will practice today. So we will cover number 1, vocab and power phrases for school or college. Number 2, short answers for daily questions. 3, long structured answers for meetings and reviews. And number 4, real sample scenarios with idioms and phrases. And not to forget the practice activities for you to do after this session. So, grab a notebook if you want. But more importantly, open your mouths and speak with me. Oh yes, if you want to go even deeper, I have a free masterclass on the Triple E system of English learning. The link is in the description. And stay with me till the end because I'll give you a sample paragraph through which you can describe everyone. But first, subscribe the channel and don't forget to share the video if you like it. So first, let's build your vocabulary bank. Now these words will help you describe situations confidently. When explaining student challenges, we can use phrases like these. You can start with, he has difficulty concentrating for long periods. Maybe she needs more practice with whatever it is. There was a gap in understanding, and then you can add something. He struggles to keep up with the pace, or the assignment submission was delayed because of this. Now, you can complete these sentences by adding another clause to these. For example, you can say she needs more practice with fractions, but she is showing steady improvement. And when explaining solutions, you can say we have introduced an additional practice exercise. We are giving more one-on-one attention. Or you can also say she has joined a peer study group, and then you can add something to do whatever. We have broken down the concept into smaller steps. Or you can say we are reinforcing learning through revision worksheets. Now you need to complete these by adding reasons or results. For example, you can say he has joined a peer study group and already his confidence is growing. When explaining progress, you can use phrases like this. You can start with, he's catching up well with the class, and then you can add something. She has shown remarkable improvement in reading. He still needs support, but the direction is very positive. Her participation in class has increased. Or you can say, he has become more consistent in submitting assignments. You can make complete sentences by adding relevant clauses. For example, you can say, her participation in class has increased. She now answers questions more confidently. You can also use some idioms or short phrases in such situations. And these are some of the idioms that you can use while talking like this, while communicating like this. Burning the midnight oil, that is studying late nights. Make the grade, that is achieve success. a slow learner. Now we use this phrase politely because it means someone who needs more time. Ahead of the curve means performing better than others. And then we have hit the books. That means study seriously. Let's take some examples how you can use them. So you can say he really hit the books before the exam and it showed in his improved performance. Now these phrases and idioms are your weapons. Let's see how to use them in real conversations. So let's practice real life conversation through short questions and answers. These are the 10 to 15-second replies for quick meetings or PTMs. I'll ask you the question, you try to give the answer. Why is my child weak in maths? So you can answer, he understands the basics but struggles with tricky sums. We are focusing on step by step practice to build confidence. How is she doing in class? Oh, she is attentive and participates actively. Her reading skills are strong, but she needs more practice in writing. Okay. Why was the assignment late? The assignment was delayed because he didn't fully understand the instructions. We have clarified them and he has completed the work now. Now, this question can be asked by anyone. Okay, so the fourth is what happened in today's lecture in the college context? So you can answer as a teacher. We covered the basics of machine learning, discussed real world applications, and assigned a group activity for next week. Similarly, you can be asked, why is he so distracted? Oh, he's easily distracted when working alone, but in group activities, he performs well. We are encouraging him to work with peers more often. Notice something? Answers to the questions with the problem have a structure. What is that? Problem, action, result. And this keeps your English clear and positive. Let's now discuss some long questions and answers. Now, these are the 1 to 2 minute answers you can give during teacher reviews or journal discussions. So, I'll again ask you the question, try to give me the answer. Can you explain why the whole class is behind in science? A teacher is asked. So, a teacher may answer, yes, the class struggled mainly because the syllabus was dense this term. Many students found the concepts of electricity challenging. To address this, we broke the lessons into smaller modules, added practical experiments, and gave worksheets for revision. Already, there is visible improvement, and we are confident they'll catch up before the exams. Speak confidently. How do you update parents about progress? A teacher is asked. So you may answer, I usually send a monthly progress note, highlighting strengths, areas for improvement, and suggested activities at home. In addition, I encourage open communication through messages and phone calls, so parents are always updated. This avoids surprises during exams. You may be asked like this, tell me about a situation where you had to handle a difficult student. It may be asked in an interview. So you may answer, last year I had a student who often disrupted class. I made up my mind to manage behavior. Instead of punishing him directly, I spoke to him privately to understand his problem. He felt bored because the lessons were too slow for him. I gave him extra challenges and soon his behavior improved dramatically. That experience taught me the value of listening before reacting. Now, did you notice some structure in the last answer? Pause the video and find out the structure. As I promised in the beginning, I would give you a formula that you can use to describe any tricky situation. And in this answer, I've used the formula that you can learn and copy while describing any situation. It is STAR formula of explaining a situation. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. Let's now understand how I used it. So last year, I had a student who often disrupted class. First, I told about the situation. I made up my mind to mend his behavior. I described my task clearly. No, instead of punishing him directly, I spoke to him privately to understand his problem. He felt bored because the lessons were too slow for him. I gave him extra challenges. So, what I've done here, I described the actions that I took, and soon his behavior improved dramatically. And the result came at the end. This was the result. So, that experience taught me the value of listening before reacting. So, sometimes you can give learning as well at the end. Now, let's apply STAR technique in the next answer. Here comes a question, and you have to answer as a parent. My question is, describe a time when your child improved significantly? How would you answer? So you can say, last year my son struggled with writing essays. He often avoided it and made excuses. This is the situation. We decided to help him in writing essays task. We worked together at home, setting small targets and giving feedback. This is the action. Slowly, his confidence grew. In fact, his teacher praised his essay in the last year result. And that was a proud moment and a lesson in patience. This is the learning. Now, let's go to question number 5. How do you explain the poor exam result of a lot of students in your class? As a teacher, you are asked, oh, the exam results were not up to the mark. And it was mainly because many students ran out of time during the paper. They knew the answers but couldn't finish as the paper was lengthy. We are now practicing timed mock tests to improve speed and performance. Longer answers don't mean complicated English. They just mean telling a story in a structured way. Now, it's your turn. Here are your practice tasks for today. Here is the worksheet that will help you practice the sentences and scenarios you learned in the session. Remember, don't just write. Speak each answer aloud at least 2 to 3 times. Fluency comes when your mouth practices, not just your pen. And these are quick 10 to 15-second replies for daily questions. So the task is answer each question in your own words. Speak aloud and record if possible. My first question is, why is my child weak in maths? You have to answer. How is she doing in class? Why was the assignment late? And why is he so distracted? Now in section 2, you can practice long answers. These are 1 to 2 minute structured answers for PTMs, reviews or interviews. Pick any 3 questions below. Write a detailed answer, 6 to 8 sentences, and then record yourself speaking it. Number 1. Can you explain why the whole class is behind in science? How do you update parents about progress? Tell me about a situation where you had to handle a difficult student. Describe a time when your child improved significantly. And number 5, how do you explain a poor exam result? The tip is follow the same star structure. Situation, what was happening, and then task, what needed to be done, and the third is action. That means what you or they did. And the last, result. What happened in the end? You can also add learnings if you want. So here is your final assignment. Record a 1-minute video answering this question. Why is your child struggling in studies? You need to give a detailed answer. And in task 2, you have to describe one real situation from your school or college using STAR technique, situation, task, action, result, and keep this worksheet as a reference. Repeat the exercises weekly. Every time you practice aloud, your English fluency gets stronger. See you in the next session.